Hey everybody, welcome to the Purpose People podcast. Today I've got Lewis from Regal Booths, so welcome.
Thank you for having me, Daryl.
Rather chilled there.
Thank you.
So you've driven all the way from Milton Keynes?
Milton Keynes.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time and the opportunity to do that. So you were at school, okay, as a young boy.
Yeah.
What was the dream?
That's a good question, Daryl.
Yeah. Was it to be like an entrepreneur or was it sports person? What was it?
It's quite funny because it was to be a lawyer.
Was it really?
Yeah. It was to be a lawyer. And then at school, I didn't really get the grades I wanted to get. And then for some reason, for GCSEs, I did study business studies.
Right.
I did business studies. And so I think that kind of like sparked up my interest in, I really didn't know. I thought, just to study business would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then from there on, 20, 30 years later down the line, I'm in business.
There you go. Yeah. So the seeds of entrepreneurship were sown when you were younger and at school. So you obviously want to be a lawyer and that didn't work, let's say, but what did you end up doing before the business then? What just give us a little bit of a pitted history of the type of roles that you were involved with before you started Regal Booths.
Before I started Regal Booths, okay, so from uni, while I was in uni, I was working at Tesco. I had a part-time job at Tesco.
Yep.
And after uni, because I studied computer science at Kingston University.
Right.
And so from there, I got a job. After uni, it took me a while to do my course. I had to repeat a few modules and stuff, and so it took me longer than my friends did, but I did it in the end. I was able to get, pass and get through.
Yeah.
And then after uni, I got my first job in the council, at Camden Council.
Right.
And I was working as doing records management. It was kind of like a pilot team, and we was doing it for a while. And then from there on, I got into IT. That was my first IT role.
So were you coding or just doing the infrastructure?
It was more system support.
Right. Okay.
So like application, software support. Yeah.
So you're a bit of a geek.
I am.
I am.
Indeed, yeah.
So like one of my other businesses like digital, which is in software. So we need to have a bit more of a conversation about some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously, like you're working for the council or whatever, and it's probably what you would deem as a safe job to some degree.
Yeah.
So why then start building out a business as a side hustle and launch? Because some people would say, yeah, but you could work there for 50 years and get a decent pension and then you're done. So why rock the boat? Why be a little bit adventurous?
I guess because I had bigger goals and bigger dreams, and I wanted something that's outside of the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so I did, during that time, in between that time, I was doing a lot of network marketing.
Right.
And so, and because that's what kind of like got me into, Regal Booths. But during my time with network marketing, it taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about business. I think more than what I learned in school. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I find out, people, multi-level marketing, that sort of stuff, people like talk about it and they go, well, it's not your own product or whatever, but the teams behind it and the education behind it and the education of, being in control of your own destiny, so to speak, and a lot of the messaging is quite inspirational. It's almost like take control and build something. And obviously you're building someone else's vision, but then you're building it on your terms, so to speak. I mean, that's probably the biggest shift, isn't it? You're like, you're making although it's someone else's product, you're making a shift from a 9-to-5 mentality to some degree.
Yeah.
What was I mean, did you do many or you just did one?
I did a few.
All right, go on. Name a couple for us.
So I started off with a company called City Solutions at the time. And then I think what happened was they got bought by another company called Genistar. I'm not sure if you heard of Genistar right now.
Sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah. So they do financial solutions. And then from there, I did another one called, I think it was Shopping Genie. And after Shopping Genie, there was another one called, it was a technology company, and I forgot the name of it. I think it was Talk Fusion. That's it, Talk Fusion.
Right. Okay.
And from Talk Fusion, I did Talk Fusion, and I did World Ventures.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was quite a few. My wife calls me a network marketing hoe. Yeah. So she said.
So you didn't do any like Arbonne or some of the other like Forever Living products or anything like that?
No, I didn't. But my mum did Avon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mum did Avon.
Yeah. So I guess she did that. I think probably that's because I saw that as well. So I saw my mum doing a lot of back and forth, getting the products and stuff like that. So
I just always remember like being at home and the doorbell would go, "Mum, it's the Avon lady," and there's like all this stuff that's ordered and whatever else. But funnily enough, it was my mum doing the Avon lady. So she took it on and she done her rounds, and it was her meeting someone on the doorstep, having a conversation, which turned into her inviting my mum, I think, was to church, which was quite interesting. And so my mum actually then started going to church, and so that was quite interesting. So you went from selling makeup to going to church, but that was certainly the beginning of her journey. So in that Avon lady thing, it was quite a interesting journey. But that was definitely part of our life growing up. Not that I wore any of the products or anything like that.
I must admit, I did try some of the products. The products are really good. They are.
They're
great.
Yeah, they were quality. They were quality stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So so obviously you got a bit of a taste for looking at life a little bit differently from the norm, and then you stumbled on the idea of Regal Booths. Now, Regal Booths, can you explain to the hearer or the listener or the watcher what a Regal Booth is? Okay,
so Regal Booths is a 360 photo booth business. So I don't know if you're familiar, but you have this like round sort of circular podium, like you stand on it, and then it has this big arm, and you stand in the middle and it goes around you, so it's like a 360.
So you got like a 360 view going around the person, but they keep an eye with the camera, aren't they?
That's it.
Yeah. And it goes around that way.
Yeah.
So the first time I'd ever seen one was at an event that we were both at, and you were obviously promoting it. And my son had a go, and you got some nice music to it, and it spins around. And my wife has probably viewed that video of my son about 2 billion times. She absolutely loves it. It's got the music playing, and he's spinning around, and he's got fairly long hair at the time, and she absolutely loves the video. So you obviously got that as a piece of technology, and then where do you find yourself now? Do you go to different events, different conferences? Is that predominantly the
It's taken us to a lot of different events. I remember one of our first major events that we did it for our local councillor, I think my wife, she saw the event, and she contacted her, and from there on, she found out more about the event, and then we was invited to come along, and we saw a few celebrities there. We saw like Richard Blackwood.
Okay.
It's like artists from a group called So Solid Crew.
Yeah.
They were there too. The twins, they were there. And it's taken us to different events, and we've met people like Angela Ma as well. She's like really like well known in the black community. She's a comedian as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an actor as well. So yeah, it's just really taken us to different places and stuff. And now we've even been invited to I think there's an event coming up to the House of Commons.
Right.
So yeah, it's taken us to different places, and we've even like worked with our competitor, and called he's got a Regal Booths. He's got a 360 business called King 360.
Right.
And so we partnered up with him, and we've been invited to the Grand National. We worked there last year. We've been invited there again. So yeah, it's really taken us to, like different places.
So where in the journey did you meet your wife, Natalie? So did she come while you were at the council and whatever? Or because obviously she's in business with you now, so you both do it. Mm-hmm. So when did you guys meet, and how did you meet?
So we met during World Ventures.
Okay.
And it was at that time I was in between. I think.
So it did work for you in the end, then.
It did.
It was worth the investment.
It was worth the investment. That's the one, Daryl. Yeah. So it was in between my transition from Genistar at the time to World Ventures.
Yeah.
So I met her in World Ventures.
Right.
And then when I met her in World Ventures, she was very popular.
Okay.
And I remember the first time I saw her, she was actually giving a testimony on stage.
Right.
About her experience with the company at the time.
Yeah.
And I approached her and I said, because she said she actually went to Florida. So she was using the company to book a trip out there, and I was actually out there. I found out that we were out there at the same time, but we didn't meet each other there.
Right.
Yeah, so I met her through World Ventures. Yeah.
So how did that conversation start then?
That's a very interesting one. So what happened was, because she was very popular, I was very shy and reserved and stuff, but like there's something about her, and I was just like, I need to speak to her. So I kind of like plucked the courage to go up to her, approach her, and I spoke to her. But at the time, a lot of people were trying to get her attention and stuff. So
yeah. And
I was in the company for a few years, and so I kept seeing her and stuff. And then one day, she was at the reception, and I just said hello to her at the reception, and all of a sudden she's like, she recognized me, and there was a spark there. Yeah. And from there on, we just, like, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how it started.
So you went on an adventure together.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So you obviously get together and whatever. So did the Regal Booths come as a result of you both chatting about it, or did one of you have the idea and the other one join for the party, so to speak? Or was it that you were both looking to do something more than what you were currently doing? How did that look?
It's a bit of both. We were both looking for something that would take us to another level.
Yeah.
And when we kind of like left the World Ventures, we wanted to do something else.
Yeah.
And so it did come to us. It came to Natalie first. She came up with the idea. In fact, she saw one of our mentors at the time from World Ventures.
Yeah.
And he actually got on a 360, and she showed me. I was like, that's amazing. Like, that is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, when your wife saw the video and stuff, so I saw the same thing. I saw our mentor, our business mentor at the time, and he was actually on the 360. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then she says, oh yeah, you know what, we should look into getting one of these.
Yeah.
And so we was actually on holiday at the time, and when we got back, we looked into it, and then we purchased one. And then from there on, we've been able to do events for other people, and just like the event that we saw you at as well.
Yeah, because it's you know, like not everybody, you know, it's the two schools of thought, and you can answer it. But some people say that the last thing they want to do is work with their wife, and other people like, I can't see it any other way. Now I fall into the latter. What about you? You know, what would you say to those people? You enjoying it working together?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Like, because number one, because she's my best friend.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said as well, I don't see it any other way. And because also, we both have a calling to serve people, love God first, then serve His people as well. So we use it as a platform to serve, you know, God's people. We even had like people who got on. That's people have like given their lives to Christ on the platform, you know. So it's really good. It's really, the way I see it, is if you haven't, because some people, they're not, you know, they're not called to work with their partners or their wives and stuff. But for me, it just works out great. I love it. I wouldn't see it any other way.
No, that's cool. It's cool. So you've got, you know, Regal Booths. You're obviously going to big events like the Grand National and things like that. So what's the future plan of that product? You know, do you think you're going to bring other products to the market? Because obviously the technology is fairly new. I mean, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other people there. So are you already looking at other technologies out there and things like that?
Yeah, we are looking at other technologies. We do have, as an addition to it, we do have a selfie pod as well, which, you know, you can leave it as a standalone. Just leave it there, and you can have the customers just come up and take their photos and stuff. Or you can man it like we man the 360. Yeah. We do have other ones that we're looking to get as well. Like there's this new one it's very new on the market, but I don't know if you've seen it, like the celebrities have, it's called a glam bot, where it's kind of like this, and it moves. You know, it moves with the person. So it takes a very quick shot of them, but it plays back in slow mo as well. So and different other photo booths as well. Yeah,
because ultimately the booths are about capturing moments, aren't they?
That's
turning that occasion and creating a moment. And I think, you know, we've all seen the selfie. We all do selfies. I think some of us were doing selfies with big old cameras years ago. And obviously it's what can you do? So one of the things, the experience is that you take the picture and you WhatsApp it or email it them, don't you, pretty quickly after getting it. So you don't have to wait for that processing. And I think for me, that's probably the biggest thing that shifted is that, you know, you'll go to an event, you'll take a picture at a wedding, and even they put the old film cameras, don't they? And then they will get processed, but you never see those photos ever again. Whereas I think with this is that you can gather a load of people together, you can take a picture and you get it pretty quickly.
It's quite instant.
So you can see it straight away, and then you can download it and you can post it on social and things like that. So that's what I like about it. So aside from like the events, are there any other things that this can be used at? Do you do weddings and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we do like weddings, baptisms, christenings, birthday parties, landmark 21. We look like last weekend we did a 21st birthday for Natalie's relative.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do all of that. So yeah, we like even like birthday, yeah, birthdays, weddings, special occasions, any special occasion really. Yeah, we do. Definitely.
So you mentioned the aspect of, because obviously knowing how we met through like Christian events and stuff like that, you've mentioned that it's been quite a good outreach tool in a sense, like you've been able to sort of like go to a few events and talk to people about it. But in terms of you, where in terms of your faith, was that something that you had before you met Natalie? Was it something you both discovered after? In terms of church and that sort of stuff, how did that journey begin?
In terms of church and our journey, I think because we both met in business, it helped because we both understood business, but at the same time as well, our faith was more important.
Yeah.
And so we took, that's something that we took very seriously, and it's kind of like our foundation. So in terms of church and our relationship, because our thing is that we like our relationship with the Lord is more important, and that's our foundation. We want to serve. We want to, make Him happy, and please Him first. Then the business comes secondary.
So did you find God independently, or you found God together, or how did that work?
Oh, we found God independently.
Okay.
Yeah, and we both found God independently, and when we met, we were like, oh yes, it's amazing. Like, we both believed in God. Yeah. We both want to do business.
That's good.
We both met in business. So yeah, it's just like, it's a beautiful fusion.
It's a funny one because like you talk about, what I like about what you said there. You talk about you both found God and you both enjoy working together. And often I talk about there's that saying, isn't there, like not being unequally yoked. And I think there's that school of thought that you might want to go to church, right? But you might have a passion to live life faith driven, like taking a few risks and stuff like that. And then the other one doesn't want to. And for me now, understanding, I was reading a thing this morning and it was talking about the actual reason why not to be unequally yoked was put into place is because they didn't want them to, if you imagine a yoke that would go on an ox, and you could probably fit a donkey on it. So what they were saying is an ox is much stronger than that of a donkey. So the point of it is if the donkey isn't as strong and the ox is more powerful, so the ox is like, and the donkey's like, you're going to end up going around in circles.
Correct.
And that kind of then led it to me like this, that a lot of people say in Christendom would say, well, I want to live life by faith or whatever. And they're married to someone that shares the faith but doesn't share faith. So what you'll find is there's that constant battle and they go round circles and not making progress. And so I look at it with my life with Claire, is that we are very wired that way to take faith risks and do those things. And for me, that's equally yoked. Because often we talk about opposites attract. Now, opposites attract in personality, but I think what I'm trying to get to is we've got to be very careful that the fact that we're both go to church, so therefore we need to be married and therefore we're both going to have a great time. Because that's not going to work either. And I think it's that appetite for adventure. It's what you said, you met, you both like business, you both did this, you both head in the right direction, then you will achieve what you want to achieve. And I think the danger with the other one is that someone's going to achieve the vision and the other one isn't. So someone's always going to live life disappointed and someone's always going to live life like, yeah, it was good, but I always feel like I'm dragging the other person with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So I think like your journey is more than you've just met someone in church, but you've met someone that you can share an adventure with.
Absolutely.
And I think that's cool.
Yeah, because we found our faith independently independently, like we were both going to different churches as well.
Okay.
and then we found the church that we both go together now, and so
you both ended up at a completely different church.
Yeah, together.
Right, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's where we go to the same church now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you do anything at the church? Do you sing? Do you wave flags? Do you do a bit of preaching? Are there things you do at church?
Yes, we do. So we've both been recently ordained as pastors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we've been leaders in our church for over a decade now.
So you're reverends?
Yes. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're leaders in our church, and we're called to build or start a branch of our church in Milton Keynes.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we do in church.
So just when life isn't complex enough, starting your own business, now you're going to chuck a church in there as well.
Yeah.
So when we see you were flag waving soon, then
you do you know what you could see me waving a flag or two during worship, because when the Spirit comes, it just takes over, and so I love. I think it's one of my favorite parts of the church, actually, like during worship.
Yeah,
because you just get overwhelmed with love,
Yeah.
So yeah. I love it. So you could find me waving a flag and stuff. Absolutely, yeah. I just get in the spirit.
No, awesome. Mm. So in terms of that, then the future. Then, so you've got the photo booth stuff, Regal Booths. Mm. You've now got a church. Is there any more complexity that you want to add to it? Just in case you get bored. Is there anything else you're looking to do?
We do have a second business called Regal Booths. Regal Booths our first.
Yep.
The second biz we do have is called Kingdom Approach.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was recently launched. So we recently launched it last year. It is it's a platform where we want to have Christian business owners come together to share the services online. So we're gonna create a directory and a learning hub.
Great.
Yeah. So we do it through events as well, and we're in the process of doing the directory.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit more with Natalie bit later about it and stuff like that. Mm. So what would you like? Somebody was in business and they're looking to start, they're working in the council. So this is you, like 15, 20, 25 years. What would you say to them that you know now that would help them make a decision?
That's a very good question. I would say to them, don't be afraid to take risks. Mm. If you believe in, the product or company that you're with, don't be afraid to just start. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. Take risks, because you can only know how to do something if you get it wrong. Mm. And so don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. Because I think that's the biggest thing. I think you learn more from the mistakes than you do from the successes.
Yeah. Don't procrastinate. Just do it, man.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Good. And so in your journey then, obviously you've got like this pastoral heart, obviously that's been recognised. Are you mentoring any other people coming through? Have you found that as a natural progression, or is that part of the calendar open?
I think we've had mentored a few people.
Okay.
A few friends as well along the way, but it definitely is part of the future and our journey.
Yeah, particularly with the Kingdom Approach.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have people from there, and then also church as well. So when they come along, the pastoral duties are there's what we're called to do. So it's part of our destiny, really.
No, it's great. I mean, it's been great to get to know you. Obviously, I met you at Pastor Tunjay's event, Kingdompreneurs, and obviously spoken at a few of your events now, which has been brilliant. Yeah. Is there anything you would say to someone that's stuck in the council working? And from the aspect of, what would you say to them now, knowing what you know?
I would say, if you have a business idea, don't be afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do it. You know, you won't know until you've done it. And in order for you to learn how to do it better, you're going to make mistakes anyway. So why don't you make the mistake earlier, and then you can be able to move on, and you would know, once you've done it, you would know what to do. You know how not to do it.
Yeah, I think that's an underestimated thing. I mean, you know, stuff takes time, but what time does, it gives you the ability to fail, to learn more.
That's it.
So like when you're younger, you know, there's maybe less pressure because retirement is looming.
Yeah.
So you can afford to make a few mistakes, right?
That's right.
And get good at what you've decided to do. Or you've done one business, it was okay, but now I'll do business number 2. So for me, yeah, I think time is a great thing to learn. And, you know, that younger person say, well, let's do it now. You know, do it when you haven't got like the house, 3 cars and 12 dogs, and you know, take those risks now and perfect it, and then you could maybe get those things later on. But you know how to do it for yourself. So absolutely. So in terms of like reaching out and connecting with you, you know, I've managed to speak a couple of events of yours, Kingdom Approach events, and then obviously we met with at Kingdompreneurs with Pastor Tunjay. So there's loads of things that you do, but you know, just from a point of reaching out to you about the booths, how would they say, hey, I like the idea of this, I've got a wedding or I've got an event, how would they get in touch?
So you can get in touch with us on via our website, so regalbooths.com.
Regalbooths.com.
Yeah.
Not a bad URL there. So good. Well done. And then what, they just reach out and you can get in touch and find out their requirements. And do you travel anywhere?
Yeah. We're national, so we can go up and down the country. We're willing to travel wherever the client is. Yeah, we're willing to even obviously like Europe and stuff. So yeah, we're willing to do that.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a 360 view of your life. And it's been really cool to get you on the sofa, and we look forward to getting you back so you can tell us more of the story.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Purpose People podcast. How you can help us is to like and subscribe our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to our podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Google and Amazon. That helps us get our message out there to help people go after their dreams, double down on it, and be successful in life on their terms.